This is the voice of the New York Football Giants, Bob Papa, and you are listening to the best throughout Europe, the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast.
Welcome back, Giants fans, to the latest edition of the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. As always, we are proudly in association with Annie's Man Club. Lads, remember, it is okay to talk, and tonight we are 67% British, 33% Irish. But as always, we are still 100% Giants. Can you believe it's week 7 already?
You wait so long for it to come around, and it just flies through.
Where is this season going, man? Yeah, we're back to preview our visit to Mile High as we take on the hopefully London hungover Denver Broncos on Sunday. Kickoff scheduled at 9:05 UK time. To help me dive into the game, I'm joined by Kev and Craig, who were both at the London game last weekend and saw the Broncos up close and personal. So it'll be interesting to hear and see what they've both made of Sean Payton's team in that game. Boys, how are we doing?
Yeah, good. I'm glad to be back on. Feels like such an age ago that Thursday night football will happen though, doesn't it? But I've been able to bask in the glory, all the whining Eagles fans and stuff. But anyway, enough about that. We're here to talk about this upcoming Sunday night game, 9:05, Denver Broncos. It's going to be tough, and looking forward to delving into the offense and defense for you boys.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like the game happened last Thursday, and it just feels like nothing's happened since. It's just been excitement and just being up for it, basically. And it was just nice to have like a Sunday where you could relax. But like you said, that game's done. Your next game is your most important game. That's the way that the NFL rolls. We're at a pretty much, I wouldn't say we're at a turning point just yet, but we're getting close to that turning point. 2-4. You look at the weekend, the Commanders and the Cowboys play each other, so that's a good thing for us because one of those teams is going to lose, one of those teams might win. We might get another tie. Why not? And then the Eagles have a favourable matchup, you would say, against the Vikings, who look like JJ McCarthy will be back, but they're not. They're in disarray at the moment. 2 losses off the back. We could quite easily be one game away from the top of the NFC East. And who would have said that when we had Russell Wilson under center?
It's funny because some teams in the NFC East are descending, and we're very much like a team that's ascending. And again, we need to take that massive win from last Thursday night and build on it. Just be able to build on it and move forward and show progress. We're realistic enough to know that we might not make the playoffs, or we probably won't make the playoffs. But we want to see progression. We want to see this team move forward.
Exactly. And, it's another tough test this weekend coming up against the Broncos. It's not going to be an easy game because we know, we all saw on Sunday how good their defense is, especially. Offensively, maybe not so much, but, we'll go into that more in a bit. But, yeah, the fact we've won 2 out of the last 3, obviously the game in the middle of that, the Saints game, we know what went wrong there. Too many turnovers, and it's on paper that was probably like the game that we win, and we end up found a way to lose that game. The games either side of it, the Chargers and obviously Eagles last week, we found ways to win those games, and we need to carry on that. We need to find ways to win games. We don't need to beat ourselves up and kick ourselves and shoot ourselves in the foot and find ways to lose the games. And, it's a really, really intriguing matchup coming on Sunday against a Denver team that, on paper, it's like, okay, Denver, they're a better team. But when you get into the nitty-gritty of it, I think it's probably closer than a lot of people realise. And, I think me and you were chatting this afternoon, Craig, about how difficult it's been predicting this game. Flip-flopping between, Giants, Broncos. There's so many variables in this game. But it's. I think we almost are at the point where it is a turning point. If we can get a win this weekend, win 3 out of 4, Momentum's a massive thing in this league. So there's so much can happen on Sunday. It can be the start of something really good, and then don't forget we got Eagles again next weekend, which we're all meeting up for. So if we can get a win this weekend and go into the Philly game on the back of 2 wins, what's not to say?
Plug.
Yeah, exactly that.
It was going to be time for a plug. Before that, I just wanted to kind of just touch on something that Dan said there. And I mentioned this in the X post we put up earlier, just to obviously say that we were going in live and everything. But that's my only kind of annoyance about the fact that it was Thursday night football and we've now had to wait those 10 days is that momentum. Like, are we still riding that wave? Has it been long enough that the waves kind of not crashed against the shore, but slowly made its way to the shore to the point where actually we're not quite as rolled up as we should be.
Just to add to that, I mean, I 100% see that, but 100% understand exactly where you're coming from, and I think it will be some sort of a factor. But then looking at the other side of the coin, that it actually gives Jackson Dart and this very inexperienced wide receiver group extra days to actually get a game plan together on offense, a bit more time to sort of gel and work on things before it comes to this formidable defense that we're going to see in Mahal on Sunday.
So there we are. We'll put it up on screen now. So don't forget, a week on Sunday, 4 p.m. till late. Giants at Eagles at Belushi's on London Bridge, or in London Bridge, shall I say. We will be there, the 5 of us. It'll be the first time that actually all 5 of us are together as well, because obviously Shane missed out on Munich, so didn't get the chance to meet the reveal of Aaron being Mayo. But from what I can see, yes, it did. There's a big contingency of people who look, who seem up for this and up for the meetup, and one person that should be there as well that I've noticed is because he put something out on X on one of our posts is Ryan Disdeer. Who is obviously just a absolute lad. We met him in Munich. We've spoken to him a few times as well. Just a really, really smart guy. So really looking forward to meeting up with him as well.
Sick graphics.
Yeah, he does. He does do some phenomenal jersey swaps early on. Brings the hype, doesn't he?
Yeah, massively. Evening. I mean, I'm buzzing for it. I don't know about you boys, and that'd be so much sweeter off the back of a win as well, which we hopefully can get this weekend in Denver. If you're watching live on YouTube, X, whatever platform you're on, get involved in the comments, as plenty of you have been already. Send us your questions and also game predictions as well, obviously, because we'll be predicting the game later on. So send us those predictions. And don't forget to like the episode, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. And how many stars are they leaving us, Kev?
5 stars, people.
A 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice would be wonderful. And yes, it would be pure carnage if we win at the meet, Steve. Planes, trains, and automobiles. That's your way of getting there, Kieran, is it? Cool. Let's get this show on the road. Up first, as always, is the news. We're all flipping off chairs. No, that's just you, Holly. Up first, as always, is the news, like I said, and there's been a few roster moves this week, as well as some contract restructurings that could hint maybe some more moves to come. Firstly, on Tuesday, the Giants signed wide receiver Juice Wells and linebacker Jonas Griffith to the practice squad. There were no corresponding moves as Jude McAtamney and Neville Hewitt both signed to the active roster prior to Thursday's game with the Eagles. Juice Wells was an undrafted free agent. He spent time with the Giants this past summer, was cut as part of the final roster moves. He's already got that rapport with Jackson Dart due to the pair playing together at Ole Miss. And they also made a few plays together during practice and preseason as well. So good for him to have a familiar face back in the locker room. Jonas Griffith was an undrafted free agent in 2020 out of Indiana State and signed with the 49ers. He moved between the 49ers and Colts practice squad for the year before he was traded to the Broncos at the beginning of 2021. Across 2 seasons, he played in 22 games, recording 8 pressures, 36 total tackles, and 1 interception. And due to an injury, he was placed on IR after a Week 10 matchup, and that was the last time he was on a game day roster. Then in August 2023, tore his ACL during practice and missed the entire 2023 season. He was released the following August and announced just after that he would need another ACL surgery. So he's had a few injury issues, but it could be much needed depth at linebacker on our roster, that's for sure. And in other news, the Giants restructured the contracts of Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland to free up $4.8 million in cap space. Prior to the move, the Giants had less than $500,000 in space, so it's reignited the rumours that Giants could be in the market for a wide receiver before the trade deadline. Now, a new name that's appeared in the running seems to be Jalen Waddle of the Miami Dolphins. What's your thoughts on that, Craig?
I'll take the Penguin. The Penguin in Gotham. But no,
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, exactly. I would take Waddle. My only concern behind going for Waddle is I think that because he has I think it's a 4-year contract and quite a manageable contract at that, to be honest. I was looking at the numbers earlier. I don't have them in front of me, but I don't think the contract is that bad for him. Now, if we take him, and Kev, you will probably agree with me on this and might be able to sort of expand on it a bit more, but I think that's maybe Wan'Dale Robinson done unless he kind of settles for a more backup role, because Waddle is going to predominantly play obviously out of the slot. He can do it all, but he probably kind of pushes Wan'Dale to one side. But we need wide receiver help, and when you look at some of the big names that are being linked, I genuinely don't think there is a bigger name than Jalen Waddle being linked with us right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's a genuine sort of like 1B type wide receiver. I mean, just quickly looking at his career stats, I mean, he's had 3,000-yard seasons in his 4.5-year career. I mean, he's been relatively healthy as well. He's played 16 games, 17 games, 14 games, 15 games. He's played all 6 this season. He's already on 390 for this season. His contract is actually for the first 2 years. I mean, he'd only be on our books for 1.3 million this year, 5 next. But then it would jump to, but then all guaranteed money be off the books. Then it would be 27-30 then for the final 2 years. But if you're looking for an absolute weapon who has shown real production in this league, then I think it's an absolute no-brainer. What would it cost to get him? I mean, you're giving up a second and something at least. Were you willing to do that for a player of his quality? Absolutely. But again, like you said, we got Neighbors as number 1. You're paying Darius Slayton 13 to 14 million per year. Robinson needs signing at the end of this season. There just might not be enough room for that many people long term for contracts. And like you said, Robinson might be looking at north of 14, 15, 16 million per year come this offseason. So you really can't pay everyone. So it would be interesting to see the dynamic then if he comes in. But I mean, for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. I mean, Miami's a bit of a shit show at the moment. I think, everyone's losing their jobs there, I think. I mean, including Tua at the end of the season. I think a lot of might be a bit of a fire seal. I know they've made other players available. But yes, I mean, for me, it's an absolute no-brainer if a deal can be done.
Yeah, and obviously the situation in Miami isn't looking particularly pretty with Tua. Obviously, he called out numerous members of his team in the press conference after the game. I mean, not by name, but that's.
He had to backtrack yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, a little bit. You don't need that sort of disharmony in the locker room, do you? And yeah, maybe they're looking to just completely rebuild because the first 3 seasons of Waddle's career, like you said, 3,000-yard seasons back to back to back. And looking at the numbers for 6 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, averaging around 16 yards per catch, over 1,000 yards in each season. So he can produce the numbers absolutely. Last season tailed off a little bit, but then Miami last season weren't particularly great either. They've got a new stud tight end in Darren Waller, so they don't necessarily need Jalen Waddle. Would you? Yeah, I think I'd probably be willing to give up a second round pick for him because he's been there and done it. He's put the numbers up and he's proven himself to be, like you said, Kev, that sort of 1B wide receiver that we desperately kind of need at the moment. We need that big name receiver at the moment because obviously Slayton with his injury issues as well, and we all saw the receivers we had out on the field last weekend. The fact that Jalen Hyatt was named as one of the starting receivers says it all. So yeah, I think I wouldn't turn down Jalen Waddle, that's for sure.
I mean, also go on, sorry, Jake.
Could we just kind of touch on something there where we were saying about, we looked at the wide receivers that were out on the field there. I actually thought little Jordan Humphrey was exactly what we've been missing, even with neighbours on the field, like that big-bodied receiver.
Receiver, 100%.
That first catch that he made, and I know this isn't the review of the Eagles game, but any excuse to talk about it. That first catch that he made was phenomenal. Like he got up and just high pointed that and just went, "This is mine." And that's it. It kind of reminded me. Do you remember a few weeks ago we had the red zone play where Wandale had it batted out of his hands? It was so similar to that, the same sort of height, because he's obviously a bigger guy. He was able to kind of body him out a little bit, but also just. Very quickly, I thought this was an interesting point that Holty made. Do you think we wait until the next two games before we trade? 2-6 versus 4-4, maybe the deciding factor. I think if we don't do it, we could be 2-6, and I'd rather do the trade now and get the wins now that we'd probably get with him, especially with the way that Dart's playing at the moment. I mean, I don't know what you boys think.
Yeah, just to tally on that. I mean, I think we kind of need to bring someone in as well as soon as possible to help with Dart's development. What you don't want is Dart to be a little bit stagnant and sort of like have receivers drop passes or run wrong routes and stuff like that, and sort of like hinder his development. You bring in a player of Waddle's quality, then you're just only sort of helping him develop more. And then it's not just for now. This is talk about going forward. Like, can you imagine next season if you've got Wandale Robbins, if you've got Malik Neighbors and Jalen Waddle, and then Slayton's your third, and not your, well, he's not even one now because he's injured at the moment. But like that's a formidable duo that people have to respect. So, I mean, we're looking for now to help Dart's development, get wins on the board, but also for long-term future.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a great question, Holty, to be fair. Do you wait until the next two games? Well, why wait? Why wait? If he's there, if that trade's to be made, then why wait?
It's a very interesting.
Bring him in the better, surely.
It's a very interesting question because I understand exactly where Holty's coming from, because he's kind of, I'm guessing he's kind of saying like, do you go for the second round pick for someone like Waddle now, second and something, or do you see where you are and maybe look at a rental like a Jacoby Myers for like a fifth or sixth round pick closer to the deadline? Because, he will only be someone that comes in. He needs re-signing as well. Do you basically put all the chips on the table and go for like now, or do you wait and see where we are after a couple of weeks and you bring in a placeholder or someone who you might get for a bit cheaper if you really want to hold on to that second rounder?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the only thing I think that would potentially hold back that trade is the fact that we probably would have to give up our second round pick, but I don't know whether.
Sorry, we're kind of all over each other here this evening for the first time in a while. The counter argument to that is, what will come? This is something myself and Brian from the Irish NFL show have been talking about quite a lot. Waddle comes in, for our second rounder. We don't get to the playoffs, but we finish the season 8-8. Where are we picking in the second round?
Yeah,
and that's the counter, isn't it?
Very true.
And also, there's other thing as well, like that second rounder. It might not be your pick to make if you can't string together some wins this season.
Yeah, very true. Very true. But yeah, I mean, let's wait and see what happens with that. I think it's an interesting one. Hopefully we see a little bit more development from it. But yeah, it's a big name that's being thrown around to come into the Giants. So wait and see.
And also, a friend of Craig's there, Connor Hughes, has said that the Giants are actively, aggressively pursuing something. And other people have said on the Twitterverse or Xverse that it might not happen. It probably won't happen, but they would love to have a deal done before the Broncos game.
Interesting. Watch this space then. No doubt we'll bring you all the latest when it happens. Keep an eye on our X page, and you'll find out. Injury report, Craig. Have we got it?
We do. It literally came out about 8 minutes ago.
Winner.
So it's quite long. It's not. It is. Yeah. It's not like it's been recently. So did not participate in practice today. We had linebacker Swayze Bozeman with an ankle injury, defensive lineman DJ Davidson with a knee injury, linebacker Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles has got a hamstring injury, defensive lineman Chauncey Golston neck injury, centre John Michael Schmidt's still dealing with a concussion and did not participate. I would say he's out, and we're going to see Austin Schlottman. Ex-Bronco, by the way. Ex-Bronco, Austin Schlottman. Darius Slayton is still out with a hamstring injury. Limited, Paulson Adebo. He's got a shoulder injury. Dane Belton, neck. Jermaine Illuminor, shoulder and back. Jalen Hyatt, ankle. And then Roy Robertson Harris, knee. Full participation. Victor Dimukeji, he has been he's had his 21-day window activated from his pec injury that saw him on IR. And Deontay Banks was back in training today after he was off yesterday because his wife had twins. But, as Roy Keane would say, he didn't have the baby, did he?
No. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Again, like you look at those injuries that didn't practice. Defensive line and linebackers, come on, it's too many injuries on this defense. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's crazy. But no, I'd be very surprised if we see JMS on Sunday, given that he's still in concussion protocol. I mean, it's Thursday evening now. Is he going to clear? Probably not.
I mean, after 10th gate, blue 10th gate, I don't think we're going to try and quicken up any concussion procedures.
No. Yeah, obviously, that was a interesting one. Dabes could still be fined for that and potentially be banned from sidelines, and it's crazy. I didn't realize it was such a big no. But yeah, it's he's aware of the process though. that's what Mr. Mara said. He's aware. But no, interesting. Hopefully some of those injuries are good to go on Sunday. No doubt there'll be a few that are, but a little bit concerned that we have so many and we're only 7 weeks into the season. All right then, on to the game preview then. Craig, give us a load on the Broncos season so far. Let's ride.
Yeah, it's actually been a pretty good last few weeks for the Broncos. 3 straight wins that sees them in joint first place for the AFC West, 4-2, along with the Chargers, with the Chiefs just behind them. However, as I pointed out to Sean Payton at the weekend, after their game against the Jets in London, outside the Bengals game, all other games have been within a score. That comes even more of a focus for the Giants when you look at the quarterbacks that they've won games over outside of Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the kind of outlier there. Cam Ward, a Bengals team that they blew out with Jake Browning under center, and Justin Fields. And let's be honest, they're not top tier quarterbacks, and they're probably not even the tier below. So that's the way to look at it. Is the only top tier or upper tier quarterback that they've played is Jalen Hurts, who's having a iffy season at best by his own standards anyway.
Who beat Jalen Hurts last week?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, there you go.
They have obviously lost 2 games this year. The quarterbacks that they played, just for clarity's sake, for those were Justin Herbert and Daniel Jones. Justin Herbert being in the top tier, and Daniel Jones in the top tier if he's on the Colts. Apparently, if he's wearing a Duke uniform or near enough to a Duke uniform, he's a top tier quarterback. Who would have thought it? All we needed to do was put a couple of stripes on the arm, and we could have had him.
Maybe Broncos, number 8 was cursed for him.
Yeah, that number 17, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The Broncos are a perfect 2-0 at home, though. Denver crowd and altitude will obviously be an issue and be an advantage for them. It'll be another huge test in this streak of tests for Jackson Dart as he goes through the early part of his career. But so far, he has risen to the occasion every single time. And I guess while we're on the subject of Jackson Dart, Kev, you might as well crack on with the offense for this week.
Yeah, I mean, like the Giants' offense, like especially the recent form, they exploded last week on the scene, 34 points against the Eagles. Rookie duo Dart and Scadaboo, they've just revitalized this offense. Like, as we've talked about in the review podcast, the offensive line's improving. Schlottman is potentially going to replace JMS because of concussion. We can't see him come back. But don't forget, Dart's very familiar with Schlottman. They took most, if not all, the off-season reps together, as being the backup center, with Russell Wilson taking them with JMS. We're going to see a lot of RPOs again, 12, 13 personnel, 21 personnel, try and slow down that, elite Denver's pass rush. Going to have to vary the formations, spread them out, bring them in, condense them in, try and find out the mismatches, exploit them. The wide receivers, who's going to step up this week? You mentioned Bill Jordan Humphrey. One of the things I loved about him, not only that big, massive box out catch that he just climbed the ladder, went up and got the ball, but a lot of comebacks, a lot of crisp comeback routes, left the defenders trailing, going down the field, come back to the first down line, catch that ball, secured it, and got a couple of first downs for us. I think he will have a bigger game this week. And then Jalen Hyatt, we're always going to talk about Jalen Hyatt. Can he build on some solid play he had last week? He had 3 for 17. Little Jordan Humphrey, he had 4 for 55. Are we going to see these two sort of like take a little bit of workload off Wan'Dale Robinson? Because he was kind of the go-to guy last week. And you can't mention the O-line and Schlottman and stuff like that without mentioning Andrew Thomas. I mean, Dart said in an interview, was it yesterday, that, he's one of the best, if not the best, offensive tackle in the league. And he's come in and he has been flawless. He has been excellent. He is what a left tackle protecting the QB's blind side looks like on and off the field. He's one of the big reasons why Dart's having the success he is, the last few games. But just to talk about the Broncos defense a little bit, they've been dominant. The coordinator, Vance Joseph, has really got them really, really going. They've allowed points allowed 15.8 per game, second in the NFL. Yards allowed 254 per game, second in the NFL. Passing yards allowed 165, third. Rushing yards allowed 89, which is sixth. Red zone touchdown rate 28.5, which is best in the NFL. Third down defense 27.16, which is the best in the NFL. Was it total touchdowns allowed, 4 passing, 2 rushing after like 6 games? That's phenomenal. They lead the lead in sacks. They have 30 sacks already. Even if you take away the 9 that they had in London this past week against the Jets, they would still lead the NFL because the next best team only has 20. So it's just like phenomenal defensive output. The pressure rate's 33.8%, which is the best in the NFL. And they don't blitz as much as you think. They only blitz 28.1% of the time. That front 7 has been balling out. Edge, Nick Benito, 29 pressures, 8 sacks, leads the NFL, 7 tackles for loss, TFLs, 19 stops. And it's not just him. You got Jonathan Cooper on the other side with 27 pressures, 4.5 sacks. And it's not just the edge either. It's the interior guys. Zach Allen from the interior, John Franklin Myers, 22.5 for Zach Allen, 3.5 sacks for Franklin Myers. Even the linebackers are getting in on it. Justin Snard, he's got 3 sacks from the linebacker position. The other linebacker, Alex Singleton, has 18 stops. Denver's 4-man rush is elite. They simulate pressure, but they look like they're sending more, but they only end up sending 4 rushers, and they just are managing to get to the quarterback consistently. That's a scary prospect. And then the secondary, they use cover 1 a lot. Nearly 50% of the time, they use cover 1. Cornerback, Pat Surtain the second, absolute shutdown corner. Riley Moss, he could be there for taking advantage of a little bit. And the slot, Jaquan McMillan, he's been playing really strong. So strong that he's keeping rookie first rounder Jahdi Barron off the field. The safeties as well, Brandon Jones and Toloa Hufanga, they are a physical safety. Because they play so much one high, they have a lot of time of safeties in the box, and they play so physical. So the Giants, may look to attack Moss or Barron when he's on the field. We definitely have to use the RPO, definitely get that ball out quick. Surtain, he's going to basically erase one of our wide receivers because he's that good. So which one's he going to be on? It's not like we've got a Neighbours or a Slayton for him to be on anyway. Do you know what I mean? But he's definitely going to take one of them out of the game. Strategy, how are we going to do this? We have to counter their rush. We have to, like I said, RPOs, quick game, a lot of motions, find out what the coverage they're in and take advantage of it. We need to be disciplined in the run. We need to really lean on the run game, get them creeping down into the box and then exploit the man coverage. I'd love to see a lot more true play action. I'd love to see under center, getting Dart under center and actually getting Scadaboo running downhill into that box, but also pulling the ball in and taking advantage of the cover one man coverage over the top. Lil Jordan Humphrey being a big-bodied receiver, I'm really interested to see how he plays. Dart will throw the ball up. He needs to, like he did last week, climb that ladder, get up there and take advantage and bring that ball down. Communication is going to be key. It's going to be noisy. It's such a loud stadium there, that like high altitude stadium up Mile High. But, they are coming off a short week, played London there on Sunday. They did get a good win against Philadelphia week 5, but they did go to London then to play the Jets. They scraped out a 13-11 win. And now they host the Giants without a bye week. Fatigue could play a bit of a factor in this game. Kind of hope it does, to be fair. But the way I look at it is Denver's defense is elite. It's physical. It's disciplined. Dart needs to play smart. Don't hang on to the ball too long because Dart at the moment, the offensive line has been giving Dart like near enough 4 seconds on plays. He can't take sacks in the sense that it can't be his fault. He needs to get the ball out quick. He needs to be decisive. It's a huge game coming off the back of last week, going out to Denver against this elite defense. If we can manage to get a win, this really could be a resurgence that, we have all been crying out for. But to Craig, I want to ask you, you watched the Broncos game from the press box in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, no less. Do you think Denver's dominant defense can continue strong form, force a turnover or two on Sunday? Or will the Giants offense manage to stay mistake-free once again?
The Broncos didn't turn over the Jets at all. The Jets had one turnover on the Broncos, but the Broncos had no turnovers. They did have 9 sacks, and they held Justin Fields to minus 10 passing yards. So the fact that all 3 of us had more passing yards than Justin Fields last Sunday is something to say. They are scary. Justin Fields, I believe I read a stat that said that Justin Fields has had the longest time in the pocket this season. And they still managed 9 sacks on him because of the fact that he holds the ball too long. So what you're kind of saying about the whole Jackson Dart needs to make sure it's a quick game on Sunday makes perfect sense because Dart hasn't been sacked a lot since he's been in because our offensive line has stepped up massively since Andrew Thomas has come back in. But you could argue that at least a handful, if not half of the sacks that he's taken have been because he's trying to play hero ball and waiting for people to get open. I think what we almost need to see from Dart is what Fields does for the Jets, but obviously he's going to do it in a better way. And that is this a case of you take the snap, first read's not open, go. Is that how we need to play it? Because I feel like Justin Fields is too hesitant, and Jackson Dart, because he's obviously younger and probably got a little bit more bravado than what Fields has, he's more likely to go. I also think that Jackson Dart's escapability is probably better than what we saw from Fields. Fields looked a little bit like a deer in the headlights during that game, and the Broncos defense just took advantage. But the one player that does scare, or okay, there are two players that scare me. Nick Benito scares me. He is having just the most phenomenal season, and you can see he is a hunter, and that's what he's been doing. But Pat Surtain, I mean, he's the reigning defensive player of the year for a reason. And
Exactly,
cornerbacks don't always get that nod. Sometimes it's the more impact players like your edge rushers who tend to get it. So for him to do it is something. But again, he's just playing lockdown. Like Garrett Wilson had nothing on him, absolutely nothing. They gave him 0, and the only time they did give him something, I think he dropped it. So yeah, mistake free is going to be almost imperative if we win.
Yeah, I mean, like, just going from that, I mean, I can see it, definitely you're right. The quick game is huge, and Dart taking off and using his legs is going to be massive. And I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, it might be a case of first read check down. He might not go through his progressions. It might be a case of that. And like, don't be surprised if you don't see 2 running backs on the field. Get Scadaboo in there to do the blocking while Tracy leaks out or goes on a swing route or comes out into a passing route, sort of like that. So it will be interesting to see. I mean, like I said, a couple of days extra. Hopefully, they've used that well to get a game plan going. But Dan, like, what other areas do you think on offense the Giants need to excel in to be able to get the W this weekend?
I think Cam Scatterbo needs to continue being Cam Scatterbo and just run with his head first into as many defenders as he possibly can. We saw last week he was just running through people, and it just brings that. There's something about him. It just brings that X factor. It just brings that. Yes, I mean, I don't know if you guys seen the clip from the New Heights podcast with the Kelsey brothers, bringing up the picture of Cam and Jackson Dart, and how they both said it's a breath of fresh air, and it's just so nice to see 2 guys that are just living their best life and absolutely like loving playing football, and not just playing football, but playing hard and playing just without a care in the world. I think they just need to carry on with that bravado and that sort of I can do this. I'm the best at this. Nobody's going to fucking stop me. Because the longer they have that confidence, I think it's only going to do wonders for this team. And then, like you said, you've then got the likes of Tyrone Tracy, who's going to be coming back from injury, who last season, 1,000-yard season, there's nothing to be sniffed at. You've then got a third back in Devin Singletary, who, again, he's shown he's more than capable of being that number 2 back. Let's really establish this run game. I really want to see us establish this run game, which then, like you said, Kev, you want to see more of the pure play action, and establishing that run game is really key. And then once you get that run game going, you can then bring your play action game, like play action playbook into consideration. But I think you're talking about Pat Surtain as well. The fact that in the last 30 years, the only cornerbacks to win DPOY in a season are the likes of Rod Woodson, Deion Sanders, who else we got? Charles Woodson, and Stephon Gilmore. Those 4 cornerbacks in the last 30, the only other 4 cornerbacks in the last 30 years to win that award. That to me says that Pat Surtain is a generational cornerback. The amount of quality cornerbacks we've had over the last 20 years or so in this league, and he's one of only 2 cornerbacks in the last 20 years to win this award.
We could do with a Pat, couldn't we?
Oh, we could absolutely do with a Pat. We really could. But it just, even in man coverage, he's as good as two defenders, and I'm not surprised he's up there with the best, because you just watch him play and it's just so nice to watch him play and be the defender he is. But I just want Craig just bring that comment up about Austin Slotman for a second, because I said this on the after the Eagles game. Chris, yeah, Austin Slotman's worked with Dart on his scouting and training camp. It's a really, really great point you make, because when JMS went out of the game and Slotman came into the game, we thought, oh God, disruption on the offensive line, like, oh, this is only going to be a bad thing. The fact that we didn't mention Austin Schlotman's name once when he came into that game, he just came in, slotted in, and cracked on with it. And I looked at the PFF grades afterwards. The two highest graded PFF players on the offensive line last week, JMS and Austin Schlotman. You know, and he just came into that game seamlessly and didn't miss a beat. You know, his pass blocking grade was through the roof. His run blocking was pretty damn good too. And so it's like, is that really a massive problem, having Schlotman as the backup centre in the game this weekend? Not really. I don't think it is. Granted, this Denver defensive front is unreal, and it's going to be a massive, massive test and a challenge, not just for him, but for the entire offensive line. And we really, really hope and pray that Jermaine Illuminor is good to go at the weekend. And having those two bookend tackles and the two guards in the middle, Van Rotenen and John Runyon, I think again this season they've been solid. So as long as we can have that defensive front, the offensive front, and if they can give Jackson Dart and the running backs a time and the lanes to run, which we did against the Eagles. We've done so far this season as well. We've given the opportunity the running backs to the lanes to run in. I think establish that run game, and I think Denver are there for the taking potentially. Sorry, but yeah, I think the Denver defense is just crazy good, isn't it? And it's going to be a really sort of tough ask to beat them, but it's doable. It's not like it isn't doable, you know. Cool. Should we move on to defense then? Onto the defensive side of things. So defensively, the Giants, I think, just need to continue off the back of what we showed last week against the Eagles. Disrupt the quarterback, stop the run, hold the Broncos on third down, and force turnovers. It kind of sounds like a blueprint to win any game, right? But that's exactly what we did last time out. You know, against the Eagles, we gave up a season-low 73 yards on the ground. The week before in New Orleans, only 88 as well. So over the last two games, the run defense that was struggling at the start of the season has really tightened up, and especially against two big name runners in Alvin Kamara and you know who. So that run defense has really sort of tightened up, and it comes down to a lot of that comes down to gap discipline as well. The gap discipline has really been there, and I think the guys that have we've talked about Nacho and the other defensive linemen that are coming in instead of Dex. Well, that's when we give up the big plays on the ground. Well, the only two big plays we gave up on the ground last week, the first two plays from scrimmage, I think it was 15 yards and 13 yards respectively to Barkley. After that, it was almost like the run D just shut down, like stop, and they didn't really let up the rest of the game. So the run defense has definitely improved over the last couple of weeks, in my opinion. This week, though, J.K. Dobbins, another good runner. So far through the 6 weeks of the season, 442 yards on 91 carries at 4.9 per attempt. So, like I said, we need to maintain that gap discipline. If and when he runs outside, we need to wrap him up quickly as well. And that's obviously when your edge rushers and your linebackers come into play. Last week at our MetLife Lodgers, the Jets held Dobbins to 40 yards on 14 carries, 2.9 an attempt, which is what we want to see at the weekend as well. Gladly give up 2.5 yards a carry, because at the end of the day, it ain't going to get you a first down. And also they were held to just 78 total rushing yards against the Jets as well. Now they won the game but it wasn't easy. It came down to that sort of defensive stand in the last 2 minutes to walk away with that win in London. And also in the two games that we've won so far, the defense has forced turnovers, 2 against both the Chargers and the Eagles. Against the Commanders, Chiefs, and Saints, we didn't, and we lost each game convincingly. The only other game we've forced a turnover in is the Cowboys game, And, that came down to a last-second overtime field goal, which is a coin toss at the end of the game. And I think if we can get force Bo Nix into making a mistake, then that forcing him into making a mistake is what this defense needs to do, and to do that, they need to put him under pressure. Now, our defensive front has been pretty good at getting pressure on the quarterback recently. So again, much of the same. Continue what we've been doing. Bo Nix ranks 29th in the league in EPA, expected points added per pass play, and has a minus 13.3% CPOE, completion percentage over expected, whilst under pressure. So they're both metrics that say he really struggles when pass protection breaks down.
And in this game, he's likely to have a third string guard as well, because Ben Powers is out, and it's been revealed that Matt Pert, who had 3 holding penalties against the Jets, tore his MCL on the third snap of the game. So he's out.
On IR now, isn't he?
So
exactly. So their offensive line has been weakened a little bit. So if we can get the pressure on him, he's potentially going to make those mistakes that we need him to make, and we're going to force turnovers. It could be likely to see another 1 or 2 interceptions. Brian Burns ranks 3rd in the league with 7 sacks so far. So Nick Bonito is leading the league, but let's not forget Spider-Man. Yeah, 7 sacks so far, and also not just him, but I feel like the impact that Shane's boy Abdul Carter has had on him. You've seen disguised stunts, the pair of them crossing over like once the ball snaps. Teams don't know what to. Opposing offenses don't know what's going on. Burns is lined up on the inside, Carter on the outside, and as soon as the ball snaps, they're crossing over. And you don't, as an offensive lineman, it's like, who are you guarding? Who are you blocking? So they're showing those disguised stunts, and it's really been effective. There's been a few times that Carter's had just a clean run at the quarterback, and luckily the quarterback has either thrown it away quickly or checked down and made a really sort of quick, easy throw just to get rid of the ball. And the same as Burns as well. There's been some times where he's just run completely unopposed at the quarterback and luckily brought him down for a sack. I think that's where we maybe need to see a little bit more of Abdul Carter, is him actually getting to the quarterback. Because his pass rush is the time of his pass rushing is insane. It's like 2 seconds. But it's always, players are always measured by metrics and by statistics. So obviously you think Burns has got 7 sacks, great, amazing. But I think Carter's had a lot to do with that as well. And I think like he's kind of gone a little bit unnoticed by some. And I think he again, just his pure disruption on not just to the quarterback, but to the entire offensive line has been really sort of plain to see, I think. And let's not forget as well, on the other side, you've got Tibbs, who again quietly going about his role, creating additional pressure. And then you're getting the pressure from the linebackers as well. And you're getting pressure up front. And I think the only thing we need to really sort of see more of, that we haven't really seen so much of this season, 97. Come on, Dex. Granted, he's being double teamed constantly in the middle of the line, which is unsurprising, really. But we need to see more of that 97 wrecking ball that we used to see, and then lastly as well, like on 3rd and 4th downs, the Eagles were 1 for 9 on 3rd downs, went 2 for 2 on 4th downs, but 3 out of 11 overall on 3rd and 4th downs, which is a highly respectable number against what is a pretty good offense. Considering the week before, we allowed New Orleans to convert on 50% of their 3rd and 4th downs. Denver's 3rd down conversion rate so far this season sits at 27%, which is one of the worst in the league. So holding them to short gains on 1st and 2nd, forcing them into 3rd downs, 3rd and long as well, is where they really struggle. Their conversion rate on 3rd and long is even worse than that. So, if we can hold them to short gains, 1st and 2nd down, or incomplete passes, or even getting a sack or whatever, if we can force them into 3rd and long, the chances are that we, 3 out of 4 times we're going to hold them to not convert, and they're going to either punt the ball away, or if they're sort of in range, they're going to kick a field goal. So I know it sounds like a lot, and I know there's like it's a blueprint to win any game, as those 4 things I mentioned at first. But those 4 things are what we saw against the Eagles. Those 4 things are what we saw against the Chargers. that's how we win a game. Is complementary football. Is having all four of them in equal elements. Not having an amazing pass rush, but not forcing turnovers. Not stopping them on third and fourth down, but not getting the pressure on the quarterback. Is all four in equal measures to create an entire defensive performance. And then, points off turnovers is key as well. If we do get a turnover, we need to make sure we score points off of it. There we go.
Indeed. I'm going to hijack the episode for a second. I know. On behalf of Shane as well. So Shane causes chaos even when he's not even on the screen.
He loves a tangent, doesn't he? Come on.
He does love a tangent. He sends me tangents. He sends me tangents on WhatsApp. And this is what's happened. Is I asked him for his prediction and he went, while I'm here. While I'm here. I'm not gonna do his accent, but while I'm here. So he sent me a message on Wednesday and he said, we should really credit special teams for how well they've played this season. We've been critical of them in the past and they deserve a shout out at some point. And then he sent a picture of the stats, not anything else. And I'll be honest, it opened my eyes to how impressive it's been. The Giants, currently rank third in best average starting position when returning kicks, both kickoffs and punts. Our average drive starts at the 29.5 yard line. Nice. So that is third best, and the other two aren't that far ahead of us. Then you look at the average starting field position when defending kicks. Would you believe the Giants are ranked first overall with our opponent's average starting drive? It starts at the 24 yard line. So there's a difference there of 5.4 yards compared to our starting position, compared to the starting position that we are forcing teams to start in.
Nice.
The advantage here, the Broncos are one of the worst coverage units in both phases. Will Lutt's kickoffs have been returned for 761 yards already, which is an average of 29.3 per return, the highest for any kicker that started 6 games.
So that's more than 100 yards per game in kickoff returns.
Yep. And then, if you want to put it that way, Dan, last week the Jets had 172 yards on 5 kickoff returns, an average of 34.4 yards. Their average starting position after a kickoff was on their own 42-yard line. You're almost at midfield.
Wow. Great starting position. Jesus.
You're almost at midfield.
We'll have some of that, please. Thank you.
That says a lot about the Jets offense, though, doesn't it? The fact they only put up the Jets offense only put up 9 points.
Yeah. But bear in mind, we have the first round kick returner, Deontay Banks.
Wow, that's a stretch.
Could we see Deontay Banks house one this week?
Oh, mate.
Could
imagine.
we?
Where's your boy when we need him, Craig? Where's your boy when we need him?
I don't want to talk about it. It's a sore subject. Anyway,
I mean, that's some great stats.
And here's one that I didn't have here, but I've just read it from Jordan Renan. Michael Gobriel has said that Dane Belton is playing at an elite level on special teams as he leads the league in special teams tackles and his energy is infectious on our coverage units. I had no idea that Belton led the league in special team tackles, but that's what he's an impact player. And when it's one play, it doesn't surprise me.
No, absolutely not. And the thing is, it's so easy to overlook special teams, isn't it? It's so easy to overlook them. But when they say, you need to play well in all 3 phases, special teams is a massive part of that. It's a massive part of that. And having that additional 5 yards on the, average starting point on the field, that can be a make or break of a game. And if the Jets can, and the average starting position was their own 42-yard line, I mean, you would give anything to start each drive at midfield, right?
100%.
If they can return kickoffs 172 yards, what's to say we can't, or more?
Exactly.
So interesting. I like that stats. Thanks for that tangent, Shane. Show the special teams some love. Absolutely. Before we get into predictions, Craig, you asked a question a couple of weeks ago about the Saints game, didn't you? So here's one for you boys. So the last time the Giants played in Denver was week 6 of 2017. It was the 15th of October, to be precise. So it was literally like this time 8 years ago. We won that game 23-10. Can you name the Giants' starting quarterback, leading rusher, and leading receiver who caught the only offensive touchdown in that game? So starting quarterback, leading rusher, and leading receiver.
I'm assuming the quarterback is not Eli. Or was it Eli?
It is Eli, isn't it?
You don't know. What do you think, Craig?
Okay, is it Eli?
Yes, it's Eli. Yes, it's Eli.
It's the way you worded that just sounded like, well, it's not Eli.
Yeah.
Never assume.
No,
Never assume.
No.
But yeah, it was Eli Manning. Let me find it. I've got his stat line here as well for that game, which is
Kev, do you want to have a bash at one of the other two?
Receiver wouldn't be Odell, would it?
Nope, it's not Odell.
Was Russia? Oh God, was it Jennings?
Oh, Jennings is a good shout.
Rashad Jennings? No. So Eli's stat line in that game: 11 of 19 for 128 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He was sacked 3 times. That was his stat line for that game.
Keith's coming with a cracker here. Was Rosas the kicker?
Keith,
Oh wow!
I doff my cap to you, young sir. Aldrich Rosas was the kicker, and he made 3 out of 3 field goals in that game.
I'm trying to think of receivers who would have been.
Oh, no, 3 out of 4. Sorry, 3 out of 4.
Cruz would have been there.
Cruz, I believe, was there, but doesn't have any stats for this game, so potentially not. 2017. No, I don't think he was. I think was
it a receiver or was it a tight end?
That's a good question.
It was a tight end.
It was a tight end.
Yeah.
Was it Will Tye? Everyone's favourite Will Tye.
Oh, Will
it
Tye.
wasn't.
It
wasn't
the other
Will
one?
Tye. It was current Broncos tight end number 1,
Evan
Ingram.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram.
Yeah, he caught the only offensive touchdown that game. His stat line: 5 receptions, 82 yards, and a touchdown.
So it's
the Russia stat line: 21 attempts, 117 yards on the ground. Didn't have a touchdown though.
What's the beginning letter of his surname? And if you say B, oh thank God. D. Am I being Orleans Darkwa?
Orleans Darkwa. There we go.
Holty was first.
He's blatantly Googled it. He's blatantly Googled it. Orleans Darkwa was the leading rusher in that game. Wayne Gallman as well was the second leading rusher in that game.
Oh God, Wayne Gallman.
All right, for a bonus point then, can you name the Broncos starting quarterback?
God. They had some. What was his name?
Not Tebow.
No.
Tim Tebow.
No. Who was the quarterback they drafted high, and he was just the biggest bust?
The big lanky one.
Yeah. Dark hair. Brock Osweiler.
Brock Osweiler was on the roster, but he wasn't the starting quarterback that day.
God damn.
Trevor Siemian.
Oh God, yeah, I never would have got to Trevor Siemian. Go to God Almighty. They have had some proper tosh, haven't they?
Yeah, but at the time, the Broncos were 3-2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the Giants were 1-4, 1-5. Sorry. So,
Trevor Siemian.
We got the win. There we go, Travis. There we go. A little bit of trivia for you. All right, predictions then. If you haven't got your prediction in, those that are watching, get them in now because we're going to start going through them any second. Season so far then, Craig.
Yeah, Kev 2-6, Aaron 0-6, still using his reverse psychology. Myself 1 and 6, Dan 3 and 6, and Shane 4 out of 6. So
I'll take 3 out of 6.
yeah,
I'll take
it. The less said about it, the better.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Kev. Game prediction. You're up first, mate.
Yeah, so I kind of put in predictions early this week or late last week for this game. I was drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. Since then, I've walked it back a little bit and redone my predictions. I'm going for a very close game. I think it's a defensive battle. And I'm going with a 2017 Giants win. Maybe Jude McAtamy walk-off field goal, just saying, would be nice. But yeah, 2017 to the G-Men.
Nice. Okay. Aaron's prediction. You got that, Craig?
I do. Do you know what? I completely forgot that Aaron wasn't on here, and I need to look it up. Right, he has gone for a Broncos win, 24-20.
24-20. Okay. So Aaron's going to get the prediction wrong. He's going to be 0-7, and the Giants are going to win. Yay! Cool. Your prediction then, Craig?
Can't remember it. Not going to lie.
There we go.
Explain yourself.
because I do the graphics, what I tend to do is I tend to live in the moment and just put it down on paper, and then that's it. It's done. But I kind of forget to write it down ever. I do know I've gone for a Giants win. Let's put it that way. And I knew I went for a low scorer, so 17-13 as well. 13. So, yeah.
Interesting. All right, then. Me, okay. So like I said earlier, there's so many variables in this game. There's so many things. Like, it was so difficult to call this game. I just didn't know where to go. It's only been Craig. The fact that Denver are coming back from London, maybe they have a little bit of a hangover. The Giants have had a mini bye week after playing Thursday night, so it's like, ooh, that could work in our favour. Denver have won 3 in a row and they're 2-0 at home. But we're coming off the back of, let's face it was a convincing win against the Eagles, who were previously 4-0. So, you know, that could go in our favour. But the fact they're 3-0, they won 3 in a row and 2-0 at home. The defense is just legitimately just amazing. But our offense is improving under Jackson Dart. Broncos win 2016. Yeah. I just think they're just that little bit.
Proper Simpsons moment there. Proper Simpsons moment where you can see the exact moment Kev's heart breaks in half.
I wanted to pick the Giants, trust me, I really did, but I just thought, I don't know.
Is Shane going to keep up this beautiful little feng shui we've got going on down here?
No, he's not. No, of course he's not.
No, of course he's not. 27-24 to Denver.
I mean, Shane's got high.
All close games, though, aren't they? They are close predictions.
They are. We've all gone within a score.
Game. Yeah,
the Sean Payton way.
Exactly that. Exactly. I think it's going to be a close game. I really can't see it being a blowout either way. Broncos are currently 7-point favourites, which I think is a bit disrespectful to the Giants. And over/under is at 40.5. So yeah, I think low scoring is probably a shout. But yeah, 7-point favourites for the Broncos at the moment. I think that's a bit. Don't know if I agree with that or not. I'd take the Giants at +7. Put it that way. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens Sunday. 9:05 kickoff Sunday evening. Means we get to sit and relax and watch the 6 o'clock games in anticipation. Do we relax? I don't know. Yeah. We get to watch the bulk of the games and relax and chill and hopefully watch some good football.
I'll probably end up missing the beginning of it because I'll be on my way back from Wembley. But fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Exactly that. All right, but
we have any viewer
predictions?
Seven predictions. So Tony got in there nice and early with a 21-10 Giants win. Chris, 27-23 win for the Giants. Kieran said, I'm not fully committed to the hype just yet. We've lost 8 road games in a row and I can't see it changing just yet. Broncos 24-17 win. Keith said, tough one to predict. Depends on what New York Giants team turns up. Let's be positive. 24-17 Giants. Holty has gone for a 21-14 Giants. Steve has gone for a 27-21 Giants. And my dad's got a prediction in for a 24-15, which is, I'd love to know if that's scoregami.
Yeah. 15 stands out, doesn't it?
Yeah. But there we go. You never know.
Very good.
Will Lutz hasn't been good kicking, so could miss a couple of extra points and hit a field goal, and there you go. There's 15 for you, if my maths is correct. It is. It is.
Yeah, it's five field goals. I wonder if 24-15 is.
Oh, you went the 5 field goals. I went for the 2 touchdowns, 1 field goal, but 2 missed extra points.
Yeah, there's many ways to it. There's many ways to it.
Yeah,
there's many ways to it. There's a converted touchdown, there's a field goal, and a safety thrown in there as well. You never know. Cool. Thanks for your predictions. As usual, we appreciate everyone getting involved and all the comments and everything as well. Thanks for the love, peeps. We really appreciate it. Unfortunately, that is all we have time for this evening. We'll be back on Monday night to review the game. Make sure you tune in then. It's going to be a good one, and hopefully the Giants get to eat that dub yet again. Anything else to add before we go, guys?
No, just that this game is going to be exciting. It's going to be a proper defensive battle. Their offense doesn't really scare me that much. Bo Nix just hasn't been pinned up in numbers. Was it 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions? His completions is average. Yards per game is pretty average. The running backs have been okay to good. I mean, this defense, I'm expecting a sexy Dexy and a Carter breakout game. And I think, we can just about nick this one.
You can always tell when we're a little bit more optimistic because the preview pods go on a little longer because we get a bit excited. But no, absolutely, I am looking forward to this a lot, and it says a lot about the fact of how the Giants are at the moment. The creatine Caucasians are just taking us to the moon at the moment and just making it an enjoyable watch. And that's all we ask for sometimes. We know we're not a perfect football team. We know there's a lot to work on. We're short-handed at certain positions. But as long as it's an entertaining product on the field and we aren't just playing shite, we get hyped.
Exactly that. And let's face it, it's better than what we've seen over the last 3 years. So
exactly,
it's hard not to be excited about what we've seen on the field over the last 3 weeks. Long may it continue because Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterby are the future of this franchise. And as excited as it has been over the last 3 weeks, we hope it continues the rest of this season and past that and into that. Just evidently as well, Craig, 24-15 is not scoregami. It's happened 9 times in the league. Once for us against the Washington, who were then the Redskins back in 1995.
There we go.
There you go.
So, yeah, but no, just looking forward to the game. I just hope it's, like I said, entertaining at the very least because, I think this team's got a lot to give, and I think we've had some exciting games over the last 3 weeks. 2 wins. Let's hope we make it 3 this weekend. Check out all our socials for the latest news. Follow the links in the description to find where we are. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. Hit the bell to get notified on when we go live as well. And as I said earlier, appreciate all the love and everyone getting involved. We're nothing without everyone getting involved, so we appreciate everybody sending their comments, predictions, and everything else. My thanks as ever go to Craig and to Kev for joining me. We're signing off until next time. Let's go Giants.